Hi crafty friends, this is card number 29 in Full Deck Challenge 3. This week's prompt was photo, and the photo that I have is this one of my 3 kids. It was taken a few months ago, and by accident they all wore denim jeans and a white t-shirt, and I really liked that it was all matching, so I've decided to use that photo and to use those colors for today's inspiration. So I have a few postage stamps in that denim blue color, and then I also have a piece of denim fabric that I might use somewhere. I'm not going to add too many colors. I have a few bits of white, some things with print. I'm liking just that neutral and blue. And then my carryover item from last week is going to be this paper I've used in the background, which is from a dictionary. And thankfully, I went through the dictionary and I found the word sibling. That page was still intact, so I'm going to use that section of the page. I thought it was pretty fitting. And I'm going to tear it now before I forget that I decided to use this section. There's of course lots of different ways to add your photo to your card. I'm going to start by cutting mine a bit smaller. It's a little too big and it's basically taking up the entire playing card. I thought to use a ruler and a pencil just to mark where I'm going to cut it, but then I was a bit nervous I might chop off one of the kids' heads. So I turned it to the front, then I couldn't see the line, so I thought let me just stop taking shortcuts and I'll just use my cutter and cut it correctly. Anyway, so there's my card. It's still pretty big, but I'll find a way to make it work. My initial idea was not to cover the whole background with the mini collage, so I decided to first do a layer of the tissue paper, which in hindsight wasn't necessary with my final design. But like I normally say, like when I create, I don't really have a plan or an idea. I have a general idea of how it's going to look, but the idea I had first didn't work out. So this part is sort of null and void, but it's done, so I'll show you. So I've added the tissue paper with Mod Podge, and then I've dried it well, and now I'm just trimming off the excess. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to place the photo. I am going to put some layers behind it just so it's not so flat. I have this piece of fabric. It's actually from an old curtain. It's sort of like a cheesecloth, but a lot more stiff, and it has beautiful frayed edges. So I'm going to put a piece of that. But before all of that, we need to do the mini collage in the background. So my original idea was to just do the mini collage in the center of the card so that you could see the 3 of clubs on top and below. But then I quickly changed my mind when I started doing this. So I've got my pieces of book pages with the dictionary page that says sibling that I wanted to use. And I'm just going to go up and just use different strips to build up the background. Now you may be asking, why did I put tissue paper first, even if I wasn't going to cover up the background? And the reason I did that was because I don't always like the suit of the card to be showing really bold and bright. I like it to be toned down and in the background. And normally I would use gesso, but I thought instead of using gesso, I could just put a layer of tissue paper just to soften that so it's not totally in your face, but you can still see it's a playing card. I'm going to start adding my little strips for my mini collage. I'm using Mod Podge for this, which is my go-to adhesive. And I'm going to put the layers across from left to right, overlapping. The prompt for next week is doodles. You can join in the Full Deck Challenge at any time. It's never too late. This is Full Deck Challenge 3. We have Full Deck Challenge 1 and 2 that I've done in previous years. And I'll put the links to all those playlists in the description box below. You can join with any card on any deck at any time. Rules are few, just have fun and enjoy the process of experimentation. And if you're on Facebook, you can join my group there. Just search Full Deck Challenge Group. Now that the background is done, I'm just working again to see how I'm going to make this photo work. I've decided to put it to the one side only because it's quite big and I don't want it to take the whole face of the card, and also I want the 3 of clubs showing in the bottom left, so I'm going to move it slightly to the right to the bottom. I'm going to add a piece of that denim in the top section to create a balance with the blue of the photo. For the bits I'm sure about, I'm going to stick them down, and that's that fabric in the background. Then I'm also going to glue my photo down and then work around it. And the piece of denim. For the postage stamp, I don't want it to be like part of the focal point. I'm just going to cut them in half and tuck them in behind the top and side of the photo. Just peeking out. We know they're there, but they're just in the background. I really love this scalloped edge I have from one of my scrapbook pads. I'm going to put a section of that to the right, just peeping out from the back. I think it gives it a beautiful finish on the right hand side of the card. I have a piece of lace trim which I'm going to fold in half and attach to the corner just using a staple. I feel this gives it nice texture and creates an interest point. I felt that maybe it needed something more where the little lace is on the bottom left. So I've hand drawn a heart on some book page and I'm cutting that out. I don't actually end up using this. I thought it would look okay, but eventually I decided against it. I do feel it needs something at the top to create balance. Otherwise it's quite bottom heavy with that lace that I stapled in place. So I've decided to use that scallop edging and doing it at the top as well. I'm going to go around the photo with a black fine liner pen, just very roughly and hand drawn. I wanted just to get a little bit of emphasis around that, and then I'm also going to do it on the scalloped edge. I was afraid I might mess it up, so I just tried it on a scrap piece first just to make sure I liked it, and then I did it on the 2 pieces I had stuck down. I then added a couple of staples just on the denim fabric just to balance out the staples I had used at the bottom. And at this point, I still felt like something was missing. It felt still quite flat. So I brought in my sewing thread. I've got a lovely denim blue color. I'm going to cut a piece and scrumple it up, and then I'm going to attach it where the staples are with a staple. I'm going to repeat this at the bottom where I stapled the lace. As soon as I did that, I absolutely loved the card. I know not everyone will agree it needed the thread, but I felt it was just the finishing touch, and I just love what it has done to my card. Let me show you a close-up. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I really hope you enjoyed this card 29 in Full Deck Challenge 3 and were inspired to create your own and even join in the Full Deck Challenge if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Thanks again for watching. Happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.